Officially, Nigeria's Naira is doing pretty well this year, down just 4% against a strong US dollar, ahead of the Canadian dollar and the Swiss franc. But that exchange rate is only used by the government. Ordinary Nigerians are grappling with a 37% drop on the widely used black market. The Naira has fallen 37% against the dollar this year, while the spread between two main exchange rates is now more than about 90%. While the Naira touched 900 Naira to a dollar recently, in the days that have followed, the Naira has appreciated against the greenback. All of this has happened in recent times against the backdrop of the announcement of a redesign of three of the Naira currency notes. On October 26th, Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele announced that the 200 Naira, the 500 Naira, and the 1,000 Naira notes are being redesigned in order to take control of the currency. Muktar Mohammed, financial analyst and the CEO of Astro Dynamic Solutions, joins me now via phone to look into the recent appreciation of the Naira. Muktar, welcome again to Business Edge.
Thank you, Tolu. Always a pleasure to be with you.
All right, so let's start a little bit back. Just about a week or so ago, over the weekend, we woke up and it was around 900 Naira to a dollar. Then 2 or day, maybe 24, you could say maybe 48 hours later, the next thing we're seeing the Naira at about 700. So there's been some interesting appreciation in the Naira's value against the dollar in recent times. So let's start from there. What's pushing this appreciation? How is the Naira all of a sudden gaining against the US dollar?
Thank you, Tolu. First, the focus on to ask about is that the really actual value of the Naira at the time it was selling. But there was any reason why the loan to the dollar should be exchanged for about 900. That's the first question we should ask ourselves. Is that the true value of the parallel market? If you are saying, okay, the exchange, the import-export market is being controlled by CBN. But then look at the parallel market. I don't think that was the correct value of the Naira to the dollar. And must forget that what took the Naira up, the dollar up above the Naira was speculation, and it was so speculative that it said it would get to 1,000 Naira. Now, when you are in a speculative spree, you can.
All right, so I think we'll need to come back and take a quick break to see if we can work out those technical difficulties. Now, there have been some conversations as to whether or not the Naira would have, the redesign of the Naira, that is, would have any impact on the actual value of the Naira against the dollar or even against the inflation that Nigeria, like many other countries, is fighting. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if we can get you an answer to that question. And we'll see if we can get Muktar Mohammed back on the line. But there are a number of other conversations happening today on Business Edge. And we'll get into those in just a bit. And don't forget, we also have international business headlines for you. But Lekan Obanjo joins me now. Lekan, before I hand you over, I know that you should be talking to someone soon about this FTX situation. In terms of sort of this appreciation issue we've seen with the Naira, what do you think of some of the theories? There's a number of theories right now that say that the reason we're seeing the currency go down is because those who've been hoarding dollars and who've been stockpiling things have now had to put the money in the bank. And it's just really driving the situation. What do you think of it?
Well, I think just like some Nigerians have done is to give kudos to the Central Bank of Nigeria, because at the point when they announced that they would have to redesign the currency, a whole lot of people were all about, oh, maybe it's another way of wasting money, so to speak. But then it had to force Nigerians who had stockpiled that amount of cash in their homes or in sewers, as some have said, to have to bring those monies out. And some way, in a way or two, has been able to help ramp up the value of the Naira.
And it's interesting you talk about the sewers. We've seen a number of videos on social media at this point in time with even money. That's the Naira that's wrapped, the ones that you get fresh from the bank, that's wrapped in all the branded wrapping. And one of the ones we've seen on social media is of a bank that's been defunct for almost close to a decade, if not more. Someone kept that money in the house. And of course, you know, the CBN has been talking about the fact that there's so much money out of the banking system, and that's a very big issue for them. But we'll continue to see this. A lot of people are not sure that this is going to continue in an upward trajectory. Since the Naira got to that 700 plus, it really seems to have sort of stabilized around that. Are you crossing your fingers we might see a further appreciation of the Naira in the coming days?
Yes, we just might see that in the coming days? Because, of course, CBN has decided to follow through with whatever policy they are bringing out, and it's just for every other person to fall in line. And if they do that, maybe it might not get to the point where we have huge parity in terms of the Naira and the dollar, but then you just might have something that might make the value more appreciable when you talk about the value of the Naira and the ability for the Naira to purchase some certain items in the market without having the consumers overspend.
All right, Lekan, thank you so much. I'll come back to you in just a bit for international headlines, but I believe Muktar Mohammed is back with us now. Muktar, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Tolu.
Okay, fantastic. Let me pick up from where I left off with Lekan, and that's in terms of this upward movement we've seen of the Naira. So we know that the new redesigned notes come out in December, and that's the 200, the 500, and the 1,000. And then, of course, the old notes will no longer be legal tender from after January 31st, 2023. Do you think that this upward movement will last beyond that, or it just has to do with some of the interesting things that are happening right now in the market?
Tolu, it has to do with interesting things that are happening in the market right now. Like I said before I went off, was one, you must ask, is that the true value of the Naira exchange to the dollar? Because at the point it was being 900 and people were thinking that it's going to get to 1,000. And then you have to ask yourself, who are those people that are thinking that it's going to get to 1,000? They are all speculators. So once you speculate in any market, whether it's the equity market, fixed income market, any market that you have speculators playing, then there is always a repercussion. And when that repercussion comes, it always it could be very, very bad for the speculators. And that's what we have seen. Remember that two things you get against when you are speculating: fear and greed. Unfortunately, this fear and greed played in the market at the same time. Number one, people were feeling that the CBN was introducing this currency to have a checkmate on the exchange rate volatility. And then secondly, again, you had the rumors that came up, the fear that came up that the United States will not be collecting any dollars that is not printed in 2022. So all these things came to the market at the same time. So what took the market, the exchange rate of the Naira to the dollar to the level it was speculation. What has brought it down is still the same speculators. So as it stands now, speculators will keep on playing the market until we get the right policies. And the right policies has to do with the supply. Are we able to meet every legitimate supply? Are we able to create that window whereby if I need dollar, I don't have to go through so much before I can get the currency, especially for legitimate usage, especially for the manufacturers, for those that are traveling, for those that are paying for health, for those that are paying for school fees and allowances. If we are able to do that, definitely we'll see the momentum sustain. But I think presently what we are seeing, speculators are getting their fingers burned. In any market when you speculate, your finger will definitely get burned. And that's what we have seen now. There's nothing, it's not because of, yes, the CBN policy only brought fear. And then the US, the other also brought fear. Then the greed also came in that, oh, look, you know what, I've made so much, I need to sell. Some of them were still holding on, oh, it has to get to 1,000. So fear and greed, speculation, everything played at the market at the same time was responsible for the kind of improvement you saw in the Naira.
Okay, so let me ask this before I let you go, unfortunately, because of time. Have the fundamentals that basically led to the sliding of the Naira changed dramatically in the last couple of weeks? Because with this fluctuation in price, we've seen businesses have to increase prices all of a sudden. Then some, being magnanimous, have actually had to also decrease prices as that appreciation has happened. But the fundamentals that have left the Naira actually depreciating about 37% against the US dollar this year, have those changed in the past few weeks?
Nothing has changed, Tolu. Nothing has changed. Like I said, it's an administrative policy that is working. Remember that the Bureau de change, most of them have stopped collecting FX or Naira from their customers because the CBN the CBN is watching them through the banking space. Remember, they came up with the policy that if you deposit above 5 million and 50 million, you do your KYC, they have to take your BVN, and also that will also mean them sending your name to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. That is one. Then secondly, again, like I said, we had the fear that came in there, like, oh, we are the US dollar to the Naira, the dollar is, we will have to do the same thing Nigeria is doing to the dollar. Also, I think those have played a major role in what we are seeing. Outside of that, I don't think anything has changed fundamentally. we're still there. The security agents are still going after them. So what you see now, and then you must ask yourself, what brought the Naira to the level? The most of the funds that were exchanged for the Naira to the dollar were not funds that are in the banking space. Most of these funds are outside the banking space. Those were the funds that were responsible for the kind of exchange rate you saw the Naira to the dollar was doing. And now those funds are finding themselves back into the FX market, so that because of the CBN policy. But unfortunately, again, the bureau de change are now scared also of collecting those funds because they have to give an account of it when they are ready with those funds. So all of these have contributed to where we are today. So it's not just an restrictive policy. The area of demand and supply have not been met. The other areas have still not been met. So definitely, we'll continue to see speculators play in the market. Remember, that is not the true exchange rate market. Remember, CBN have revoked the license of bureau de change, and the true reflection of the market, the CBN says, through the import-export window, which has to do based on demand and supply. And you mustn't forget there was a time we were operating three windows. We have the government exchange rate, we have the import-export window, and we have the bureau de change window. But now what we have is the import-export window, which is CBN says the official window, and the bureau de change, which is doing are having their own business on the side without the support of CBN like what they used to have before. So definitely speculators are in the space of the bureau de change space, and I think they seem to be having the upper hand before this policy came from CBN.
Unfortunately, because of time, we have to end the conversation here. But we'll be keeping a close eye on this. As I said earlier, the Naira has settled around that 700 Naira to the dollar mark. Things are still fluctuating, but we do have a few more weeks left to find out what the next things are going to be for the announcement of the redesign. Muktar, thank you for your time today.